This week on Most Craved.
It's beginning to look a lot like X-Men casting news for X-Men Apocalypse.
Wow. Also, there's a Peanuts trailer with totally unnecessary violence. We love it.
Are you guys giving up on midnight launches of video games?
Yes.
One of the big pieces of news this week in the movie world is X-Men Apocalypse casting news. We've heard a number of mutants rumored in the past. The newest report says that we're going to see a new actor and actress play Scott Summers and Jean Grey. And there's even a list of names. It looks like they're aiming a little for an A-list actress with the Jean Grey role. We've heard Elle Fanning is up for the part, Haley Steinfeld, and Chloe Grace Moretz. Meanwhile, on the flip side, for the Scott Summers role, we have Timothy Chalamet, who people may remember from Interstellar. He played the young Casey Affleck.
We don't remember that.
Ben Hardy from EastEnders.
Sure.
Wow.
And Charlie Rowe, who is currently on Red Band Society.
Good for them.
Yeah, no, I actually like this, and the fact that they're going for A-list actors for Jean Grey means that she could be a larger part of the movie.
That was another one of the interesting things is they said that these are characters that they're casting now. They're going to appear in future films. We had previously heard that X-Men Apocalypse was going to conclude the First Class trilogy. It looks like this is the timeline we're going to be sticking with moving forward, though.
Well, the timeline was so broken before. If you'll recall, the first X-Men, which came out around 1999, 2000, took place in the near future when Scott Summers was in his late 20s. And then in X-Men Origins Wolverine, we met Scott Summers in 1981 when he was in his late teens. So it was so messed up. So I'm just happy that we're going to finally make a little bit of sense.
It's
and
Hollywood.
actually have
People
them be
don't
kind of
age the
age
same way.
appropriate because they're talking about this one being set in the 1980s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
83, right? 10 years after?
Sure.
I believe that's what I read.
I'm worried. I mean, I'm not worried because, but it does seem like we're getting a lot of characters because we know we're going to have Michael Fassbender, we know we're going to have Mystique, we know we're going to have Nicholas Holt's Beast and Xavier. Those are all confirmed. We're also getting Apocalypse, and Tom Hardy has been rumored.
Gambit is rumored
Gambit,
as well.
Nightcrawler came up. Quicksilver, they said, would be back.
But you know, it's something that I was a little bit concerned before Days of Future Past came out, and I was writing stories about this because it seemed like they were introducing a new one every single week. They're like, guess who else is in it? How are you doing this? But it ended up working out really well. I actually liked it.
In that particular one, ended up working well. In all the other X-Men movies, when they had a huge cast of characters, there was always someone really cool who got the short shrift, if not many of them.
Yeah.
X-Men: The Last Stand, I think, being the example, where it's like, oh, look at all these cool guys. They're not going to do anything, and this is going to suck ass. And then they're just going to reintroduce them in the next film like nothing happened, like they did, I think, twice with Emma Frost. So, I don't know. Continuity is always a mess. I'm hoping after Days of Future Past, they have a chance to clean it up and have it all make sense.
Or make it even messier. I mean, what we saw very recently in the comics was Brian Michael Bendis' all-new X-Men, which had the younger X-Men cast traveling to the future. If these are the actors they're going for, Cyclops and Phoenix, who, historically, The Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix was the miniseries that had them traveling through time to future cable time.
So they could raise their son without their son ever knowing it was them, and then he could come back in time all bitter and angry at them because he didn't know, even though they could have told him at any time whatsoever.
Well, one of the other things is that they've also said X-Force is one of those ideas that's on the table.
Sure. Why not? Let's break down all the barriers. X-babies, let's do it.
No X-babies. No.
I'd be happy to see X-babies.
X-babies, they'll make you dream.
Speaking of, pay for that.
No. Speaking of kid stuff, I want to talk about this new Peanuts trailer that I think we've all seen. Now, this is the first Peanuts movie in 35 years since Bon Voyage, Charlie Brown, and Don't Come Back. And I must say one thing, I love the new animation style of this thing. It's a nice marriage of, the CG animation, but also almost a 2D / stop motion style. It feels very homemade. I think that's great. What did give me pause was the fact that at the end of the trailer, Snoopy, for no good reason, electrocutes Woodstock, who is very clearly feeling pain, and he laughs about it, and then we're all supposed to go, yay!
But you know what? That's something. The Peanuts cartoon. If you actually read it, the comic strip.
Sure, I did.
This stuff like that happens, and I mean, look. Okay, I'm still bitter about some of the Spike storylines where they just leave him. And I'm still, I don't know. I mean, they're not.
Are we talking about My Little Pony right now?
No,
is that Spike?
Other Spike.
Oh,
no,
okay.
Snoopy's. Is it his brother or his cousin? The one in the desert. With
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry.
Wow.
I go
can't
My
believe
Little
we're having
Pony
this
with
conversation. But I love this, and I think it's really cute. And I mean, if a dog can fly as a World War I flying ace in his Sopwith camel, then the bird's probably not really getting electrocuted.
Well, I realized that, I don't know, like, and someone pointed out that, like, there was that whole recurring gag of Charlie Brown getting convinced to try to kick the football and then falling and hurting his butt. Fine. But if you look at all of those strips, even though it is just the same gag over and over again, it's about, like, existential determinism and ennui. It's about, like, there's a recurring motif in the Charlie Brown stories, movies, TV, doesn't matter, that's all about treating, like, childhood misery seriously and with sensitivity, and going for a cheap gag like that, like, that's just based on dumb violence. It doesn't strike me. And I'm not saying it's going to suck. It might just be something that bothers me in the trailer. It might. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but it bugs me.
The song in the middle bothered me in the trailer. The rest of it I loved.
Okay.
I thought it was a sweet trailer. I get your point, but I mean, we'll see if in the final film it may not have nothing to do with anything.
It may not, but, like, it's how they're promoting it. And at the very least, they stopped promoting it as the first Peanuts movie, and I'm like, this is like the 5th or 6th theatrically released Peanuts movie.
Well, they had a great gag with that in the Muppet movie this year too.
Yeah, that's true. But that was a gag. When they started promoting the Peanuts movie, they were serious and said it was like the first one. I'm like, shut up, just shut up.
I'm sorry, I think it's
shut up.
the
Well,
thing
am I
ever.
overreacting, audience? Let us know in the comments. Let us know. It wouldn't be the first time I've overreacted. It would be the second time.
Do you hate everything?
No.
I'm totally teasing.
Just my
totally
life.
teasing you.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm
All
good.
right. Well, I wanted to move on to a video game thing. I know you guys aren't, like, crazy psycho gamers like I am.
I used to be, but I have to focus on film now. Yeah.
I got the World of Warcraft expansion last night. You know, and I waited. I didn't get it on the release date for a very specific reason. Well, partially it was to bid farewell to my family and friends because I won't see them for the next year. But the other reason was because I assumed when it launched there were going to be problems, and there were. There were so many problems between a DDoS attack and lag times and issues with the servers that Blizzard actually apologized and added free time onto subscriptions. And this is something we've been seeing pretty much nonstop. We've seen it with Call of Duty. We've seen it with Halo. We've seen it with Assassin's Creed, who they said, oh, we can't animate the ladies because your parts are complicated. But apparently they can't animate anything because there's so many glitches.
Well, it bothers me that we're in a situation now within the video game industry where assuming the product will be defective on launch day is considered normal, and no one is not buying them. Like that, when you release a defective product and then you use the actual end user as quality assurance testers, like, oh, we'll let them figure out if it's wrong and then we'll release a patch. Or even just, we know it's screwed up, but we have to hit this date.
Yeah.
And we won't push it back to make sure that people get a quality product. How is that not just horrible business?
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes it is. Sometimes it's the game. Sometimes it's the servers that aren't upgraded. But,
Sure.
like, you know, with Halo, okay. Halo is one of the most popular games of all time. The Master Chief Collection is every map from all of the Halo games remastered. You didn't think people were going to play this? Upgrade stuff. I know with Assassin's Creed, like, they've got the movie coming out, and it's a little, I don't know, it just seems a little dicey. They also held off the review until right before it came out, which a lot of consumers are freaking out about.
Well, I mean, they do that for movies all the time. If a movie is bad, you know, the studio will embargo, like, we don't want a review to come
but
out
a
until
movie's
the day of
$12,
release.
a game is $60.
That's true. That's true.
But devil's advocate, it's hard to make. I mean,
Sure.
and it's
And yet
not
people have
something
managed so many times.
It's not something you can even test. I mean, when you have something
Yes,
that
it is.
not on that scale. I mean,
I think
if you're
larger
opening
betas.
it up,
Larger betas.
uh-huh.
Well, I mean, I think it seems to be the servers for the most part that are down, and I think that's frustrating because you do know that you're going to have this demand, and releasing a product, like you said, when it's broken, when you know people aren't going to be able to play it, but they're paying or they're getting there for launch date. It's like midnight launch. I don't know. I think we have to talk about that a little bit, and I'd love to hear from you guys. Are you guys going to midnight launches anymore, or are you waiting to see when they fix the servers and you can actually play the game?
I don't know that much about video games, but I do know that as a movie fan, if I wasn't going to press screenings, midnight releases are awesome just because of the fandom involved.
But you get to share the communal experience
Right.
of experiencing the art form, as opposed to video games where it is you share the experience of staying in line and then you go home and do it individually.
And then you bitch on Twitter about the fact that none of you can get on and play the game.
Yeah.
Guys, follow us on Twitter at Most Craved, and tweet us there and let us know what you think about all of this. And we will see you next week.